Well, we have word that markets are crashing because of this Brexit thing, and we were given these warning signs from different people saying that there could be a Black Friday. And really, it's a lot of their scare tactic, because anytime they want to tell you to do one thing or go in one direction, they're doing the opposite, and that's how they've made all their money. We've talked about this time and time again. But panic mode has set in, and as you can see here, by the charts, Dow down 800. I think gold sitting at the 1350. S&P. And of course, the GBP here down in this situation. But I'm going to show you something here in a second that's rather interesting. The last 25 huge stock market crashes and how they have bounced back. And you're going to see that the long-term investment pays off. The only time that it didn't pay off within a 1-year return was two anomalies on the chart. One was with the Lehman Brothers. The other one was on 9/11. You can see this one has dropped dramatically, down 1,800 points, and they were watching the Japan markets this morning. You can see with the S&P, IKEA. You can see where all these have set since overnight in this whole vote for the UK to leave the EU. Now they have some updates here stating that Japan's 10-year yield falls to a record minus 0.215%. India, RIB, said to sell dollars to curb the drop. Now there's all types of different markets that are fluctuating here because of this, and this was to be expected. But what I want to point out is this. With these collapses, and this is rather interesting, the 25 biggest stock market crashes and their recoveries. And you can look at their shares on a return basis. And when you look at these numbers, you look at all these collapses that they've got listed here, or the dates connected with them, with the stock market. These massive losses, only two dates, the Lehman Brothers date and 9/11, saw anything in the negative after a year. After that, everything pushed to the positive. And the returns, after 5 years, even greater than 100% on some of these instances, on the returns. So some of these individuals, knowing this, would participate in this, take the initial short loss, but in doing so, they're going to buy up all these other shares very cheap, and then when it bounces back and they all start to rise, guess who's sitting on all those shares that are now on the rise, and they're going to make all that money. And that's how they get very rich. They've done it time and time again, and the markets are rigged, guys. We've talked about this now for weeks after DB Bank got popped, rigging the markets. So right now they're saying that markets kind of in chaos at this point. Crisis mode is how they're putting it. And looking at some of the trending things here, Cameron plans to step down. This is what he's stating now. We've got Scotland stepping up, saying that they're going to, the leader there in Scotland, one of their main speakers, saying they're going to do everything that they possibly can do to keep Scotland in the EU. Because now that the UK has pulled this off, it looks like other countries want to step up. Their people want to step up and vote to leave as well. But some of the big things being talked about here now associated with this, besides the stocks, is that David Cameron is talking about stepping down, says he will, and the people in Scotland voicing their opinion rather quickly. So these updates will continue to come in throughout the day. I'll continue to update as much as possible here on Twitter. You can see here Scotland highly likely to hold second independence vote. And we showed the rig voting the first time everything went down. A lot of people happy about this Brexit vote, them pulling out of the union, even though they were warned of all these dire consequences, as I just showed you. Every time there's been a big collapse like this, there's been recoveries. And the governor of the Bank of England, I think his last name's Carney, this was trending about an hour ago. He came out and said that it cost them somewhere around 180 billion to do this and to make this move away from the EU. But he states they set 220 billion aside just to prepare for this moment. So it looks like they had that end covered, and they knew full well what they were doing. And listen, you're talking about Britain. You're talking about the crown. There's things happening here that people need to pay attention to. And what is this doing? This is affecting world economies. If they break loose on their own, they're not going to be part of another system like the EU system when it collapses. And to get a whole new world order system in place, they want to build these blocks like they've been trying to do. Last thing they want to do is see certain countries leaving. But when you're talking about the crown, you have to kind of look at the other side of the coin here and see if there's something more to this than meets the eye. If there very well could be something coming pertaining to the EU, European Union, that they're not talking about, that they know is coming, that they don't want to affect them if they were in the union, so that's why they're getting out. And yet, no one's talking about it. My bet is that's exactly what's going on. Knowing who's been behind all these orchestrated events, who runs everything globally anyway, and what we're seeing here now. So the UK making this move. Britain votes Brexit. As many people saying that it wasn't going to happen, it's happened. And like I said, the fallout from this will probably last, for some time. But that's a look at some of the recent activity here in regards to Brexit. You can see here, Cameron stating it's time for him to leave. I'll leave links. Make sure to tune in. Underground World News Live to be held on Into the Stars channel, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, tonight and next Friday. We'll be updating on this and many other things.